Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Felissimo Friday and today we have set number 14 and it is a lovely set full of reds, yellows and orange and pink and all different colors, and it is called the tropical set. It is numbers 261 to 280 out of 500. So many more pencils to go through. So the little poem that comes with it says, "Scent of pineapple fills the balmy breeze as sunset melts the sand, and the ocean colors beam across the horizon. This is the magic of paradise in motion." Absolutely beautiful colors. We've got some reds, we've got some pinks and purples, blues and blue greens, and yellows and oranges. Definitely tropical colors. So we have our swatch chart here, and we have the color names. So the color names are Fire Dance, Golden Hour, Pineapple Breeze, Sunscreen Smooth, Bikini Sprite, Mint Mojito, Ibiza, I'm not sure how to say that, Tide, Afternoon Ripple, Blue Hawaiian, Reef Dive, Waimea Sunset, Water Lily Lake, Aqua Akai, Forever Frang, Frangipani, I can't say that one either, Flip Flop, Beach Bomb, Flamingo Flaunt, Starfish Sanctuary, Heavenly Hibiscus, and Caribbean Coral. We're going to do the swatch and then we're going to actually color with these today. I'm not going to do a craft because I didn't like the paper craft. I don't like the way that I just didn't like it. So I'm not doing it. But I will do the swatch. I'm going to turn off this light here and I'm going to zoom you in a little so that you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Hate it when I have it all zoomed in and then I do something and move it. There we go. Zoom you in. And then we're going to start with Fire Dance. Fire Dance is number 261. And as you know, the name is on the pencil as well as the color number. Now they are in silver, so they're a little bit more difficult to see. It also has the 500 colored pencils and the Felissimo name. I'm using my Mr. Pen sharpener. Couple of nice turns and it's beautifully sharp. All right. Now the paper on the swatch chart isn't the greatest paper, so you may not get a heavy coloring information from it. So just build up the color. We're going to actually try these on a picture. And depending upon the craft, if the craft is something that is fun and that I want to do, I may do the craft or I may color in a book with the sets coming up. I'm not enjoying the crafts. I know it's a challenge, and I know that it's something that I was challenged to do, and I failed. I'm just not good at the crafts, and they're just not my thing. And I'm going to, I'm going to try to start doing things my way. Although I did do many of the paper crafts, so I didn't fail in doing the paper crafts. I'm just not good at doing all of them. This one here is called Golden Hour. I'll show you the paper craft, and I'll show you why I am not excited by it. So this one is called Golden Hour, and it's a pale yellow on this, or a pale orange, sorry, on this swatch chart. Just trying to get that color built up there so you can see it. Don't want to blow in your ear. Blowing away the pencil dust. This one is called Pineapple Breeze. And it's a lovely yellow. Ooh, what a pretty yellow. Nice, bright, pretty yellow. Very pretty color. This one here is called Sunscreen Smooth. Sunscreen Smooth. And I'm actually really enjoying the way that the Mr. Pen pencil sharpener is sharpening these. It's not grabbing them. The other sharpener, the Staedtler, had a tendency to grab the corner and tear the wood. And the Mr. Pen is not doing that. So that kind of really excites me. I know, weird things that excite you, right? As a colorist, that's kind of exciting. So and yeah, they're just sharpening like a demon. This one is Bikini Sprite. Also a very lovely yellow. I'm really enjoying the yellows. They're very bright and cheery. I don't know if it's because it's raining outside or which is very possible. The fact that it's pouring with rain outside may be possible. The reason why I'm enjoying yellow so much today. It's bright and cheery. This one is Mint Mojito. Lovely teal, light teal tone. Again, I will apologize for the paper of the swatch chart. It is not the best paper, and it does give you a bit of frustration when you're trying to swatch your pencils because it doesn't give you the best coloration either. Alright, this one is called Ibiza Tide. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. And it is a darker teal tone, teal color. A darker tone of teal. There we go. Sometimes my words just get all jumbled up and don't come out the way that my brain is saying them. So in the new year, we will still be doing Felissimo Friday because there are several sets still to go through. However, I may, like I said, I may start doing some coloring with them instead of the little coloring that comes with it and the paper craft. This one's called Afternoon Ripple. And it's a lovely, lovely blue. There's a lot of blues in this set. There's a lot of colors in this set. Who am I kidding? It's a lot of colors. Afternoon Ripple. Alright, now the next one is Blue Hawaiian. It's Blue Hawaiian. A bit of a medium tone in the blue. It's got a little touch of green in it. It's like that aqua blue-green color. Just got a little touch of green in it. And got too carried away with coloring the whole thing, trying to see what colors were in it. So I'm just going to put a little bit more pressure on this side here so we can have our dark and our light. And this one is called Reef Dive. Sorry, don't mean to blow in your ear. Lovely, lovely blue. That's that deep ocean blue. You know, those deep oceans that you can see all the way to the bottom. That kind of blue. Lovely color. Now we're going to get into some purples. So this is Wamia Sundown. Oh, that's pretty. That's a lovely color too. I'm going to do a couple of layers here to darken it up. Very, very pretty purple. Very light, lovely purple. This one here is called Water Lily Lake. Again, another lovely medium toned purple. Just going to build up some of that color here. Best I can on this paper. It's a little smooth for the pencils, so it's not allowing too many layers. Brush that away instead of blowing in your ear. This one is Aqua Acai. Acai. It's one of those non-English words that you know, the brain says this is how it's said, and then somebody that speaks that language says, yeah, no. This is a really nice red violet. Very pretty, pretty color. And then we have Forever Frangipani. 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 Panny. Frangipani. Okay. I am butchering that one all to heck. It's a beautiful pink. That's it. I love all these really cool names, but sometimes I just wish they'd call it what it is. But I know with 500 pencils, you kind of have to be creative with the naming of them. I'm just happy they're in English. What a pretty pink. Very, very pretty pink. This one is called Flip Flop. Flip Flops. And after we do the swatch, I'll switch over to the main camera and give you a good look at the swatch. And I will show you the book that we're going to color in and the page that we're going to color. I'll zoom you out a little bit so you can actually see what I'm coloring. It's not a bad color, and lovely pink. This is more of a, this has more red in it, and this has more of a white in it, I think. This one, they're very different pinks. This one is called Beach Balm. I knew it was going to do that. This one is Beach Balm. And it's all, and this one is a little crumbly. And I noticed when I sharpened it that the core had a little bit of a crack in it. So I think it's just crumbly from that. Hopefully I can sharpen past it. And this one is Flamingo Flaunt. Flamingo Flaunt. It's a nice bright pink. Very nice bright pink. Almost just under a red, but definitely still pink. And then we have Starfish Sanctuary. A couple of turns. Because of the way that the paper is, I'm just going back and forth. I'm not doing my normal circular motions. It's a bit of a red, isn't it? It's got a little bit of an orange tint to it, but it's definitely a red. Then we have Heavenly Hibiscus. Heavenly Hibiscus, which is number 279. This is more of a pink red. So we've got an orangey red and a pinky red. But definitely a red, kind of like a cherry red. And then we have Caribbean Coral. And this is the last color of the set. And then I'll switch you over to the main camera so you can see the entire swatch chart all done. Again, another bit of a pinky red, I think. That one's more red than this one. Alright, and that was Caribbean Coral. Dust those all off. So we've got a Fire Dance, which is a lovely orange, a Golden Hour, which is a light orange, Pineapple Breeze, which is a dark yellow, Sunscreen Smooth, a medium yellow, and Bikini Sprite, which is a lighter yellow. Then we have the Mint Mojito, which is a seafoam type of green. And then we have the Ibiza Tide, Afternoon Ripple, also in the aquatic tones. Blue Hawaiian is also a nice aquatic color. Reef Dive, which is a lovely blue. Then we go into our light purples, Wamia Sundown, Water Lily Lake, and Aqua Acai. And then we have our pinks, our Forever, whatever that one is, Flip Flop, and Beach Bomb. So we have our pinky pink, a medium tone pink, and then a pink with a little bit more red in it. And then we have Flamingo Flaunt, which is a lovely dark pink, bright pink, almost like a hot pink. And then we have our Starfish Sanctuary, Heavenly Hibiscus, and Caribbean Coral, which are in the red tones. We've got an orange red, a red red, and a pink red. All right, so those are all the colors of the tropical set. I'm going to switch you over to the main so you can see all the colors together. And it's a really, really nice palette. Now we're going to use the palette. So I'll show you what the paper craft is. It's a folded wrapper. So I'm not fond of their thing to color. It's just not grabbing me. And basically it's just folding all the paper up into 1, 2, 3, 4, that sort of thing, and creating a little envelope with it. Instead, we are going to color from the Winged Daydreams by Monique DeWild, and I think we're going to color this page. So we're going to open this book nice and flat, and we're going to switch over to the close-up camera again so you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to start with our reds. So we're going to start, well, let's make sure that we have our swatch chart open so we can see what colors we're grabbing here. So we're going to start with number 279, which is Heavenly Hibiscus. And we're going to do our bow. Ooh, that feels so much better on this paper. So I have colored with the Felissimos before in another page for the ones that I've already gone through and completed the crafts on. And I really enjoy coloring with them. They do color really, really nicely. And they lay down color really well, even with just barely touching the page. The swatch chart and the paper craft that they send with it really doesn't give the pencil color any justice. So if you do purchase them, don't get discouraged by them when you swatch them on their swatch charts, because the color is completely different on an actual coloring than it is on their swatch chart, because their swatch chart is so so smooth. It's hard to get a really good amount of color. So now I'm using Starfish Sanctuary, which is the orange red, giving it some highlight. Because of the fact that this is a very small area, I'm just using 2 colors. If it was a larger area, I would use 3. Maybe even 4. There's our bow. Just trying to make sure that I get as much of the white spot taken care of as I can. This paper is a lot toothier than the swatch chart, that's for sure. All right. Now we're going to do the balloon. So we're going to do the outer areas of the balloon. So we're going to start with our orange down here. So I'm using Fire Dance down here at the bottom. This is going to be our shadowy color. So I'm just doing all the shadow areas like so. Then we're going to do this area here with a bit of a fire glow. And then we're going to take our dark yellow, which is Sunscreen. So this one is Sunscreen Smooth. And we're just going to blend those together for that fire area. Like so. Might even take a little bit of Starfish Sanctuary there. And just blend that in as well, just for that little bit of red tone in there. And then we'll blend it in with the yellow. Like so. Alright, now we're going to take our light orange, which is the golden hour, and we're going to start blending into the darker orange down here. So I have a couple of changes coming up on the channel. We're going to be going back and doing more of the collection stuff. So Collection Mania Monday will be back. I don't know if that's what I will call it, but on Mondays I will be not only doing my Art Matters Monday until Art Matters is over, but I will also do the information on the set of pencils that we're going to be coloring with for the week, because we're going to be coloring with sets of pencils from my collection and only from my collection for the year. So I'm not going to be purchasing any new pencils. Any new pencils that I do review or anything like that will be ones that either were gifted to me or were sent to me by manufacturers to review. But other than that, I won't be doing any reviews of purchases because I'm not going to be purchasing anything in 2023. Not anything for myself anyway. Not art supplies wise anyway. My purchasing has gotten out of hand and I'm trying to pull it back in. Alright, so now up here we're going to do this part of the balloon, and we're going to use that orange red. So we're going to use Starfish Sanctuary up here, and we're going to be blending that into some oranges. Now this part here is a cover. As you can see, it's attached here and isn't a part of the part that I'm coloring, if that makes sense. So there's a under balloon and then there's the over balloon that's attached to the basket. From the looks of the picture, hopefully my hand's not in your way. And I'm just going through and I'm doing the deepest shadow areas with this red. We'll be toning it down and blending it down with some orange because I'm going to do it the same as here, just with a red shadow because of the fact that there's more of a shadow up here. Same with up here. And in these larger areas, we'll do a bit of a yellow highlight as well. And we'll get as much of this. I'll do different aspects of it and try to use as many colors as I can on this picture without going overboard on time. Alright, now we're going to go in with, so that one was the Starfish Sanctuary. Now we're going in with Fire Dance. Right over top of the Starfish Sanctuary. And bringing it down. Like so. I apologize if my hand is in the way. So just building that color up and bringing it into the rest of the balloon here. Now this part down here is going to have more of a yellow tone or yellow hint to it because of the fire that is filling the balloon. I know I get so literal with everything sometimes. Sometimes I have to remind myself that it's not a photograph. I don't need to be exact in its coloration. That I can get whimsical with it. It's not against the law. Alright, now I'm going in with the golden hour. And just blending all those oranges together with the golden hour. Extending them up. Leaving a small space there, which I'm going to use for yellow. get into all the little cracks and crevices. Alright, now we're going to take a light yellow, so we're going to use Pineapple Breeze, I think. No, actually, we'll use Bikini. Bikini Sprite is the lightest of the yellows. So we're just going to go right into here. Brightening that up a little bit. Like that. Then we're going to take our Fire Dance again, and we're just going to darken up a little bit down here at the bottom. And we're going to take our Golden Hour. I'm going to fill this in. And come into that yellow a little bit. Just give it a bit of a lightening. So it's not as stark bright. Remove any hard line area. Like so. Alright, now we're going to do the same thing up here at the top. And then the under part of the balloon will be done. So again, we're going in with the Fire Dance. Now this one here, we're not going to be adding that yellow because the fire is down here, not up here. So I'm using a lot more of that Fire Dance color. Darkening some areas a little more than others, blending into that starfish color there as well. And these pencils are doing really, really nicely on this paper. Pleasantly surprised on how well they're coloring on this coloring book compared to the swatch chart and the paper craft that they send you. I was a little bit worried about this book because it does have a bit of a smoother paper, but they're doing just fine. So don't let the swatch chart and the paper craft that come with it, deter you. Use them on a coloring page before you decide whether or not you like them. People tell me, oh well, they're just, you're supposed to use them for wall art. And it's like, yeah, I don't do that. I use my pencils. If I'm paying that kind of money for a set of pencils, they're being used. Just saying. All right, so there we have our balloon done. Now, any of the white spot and that sort of thing, the streaking and whatnot, I'm going to blend out with our blender pencil after I am finished coloring. So now we're going to grab our Caribbean coral and we're going to do the cover area here in pink. So we're going to have to avoid all of the little doodads. Most of it, other than the ribbon here, is built into it. It's all a part of the design. So we don't need to do too heavy of a shadow area under them. The Caribbean coral I'm using for the shadow color. And there's different areas that I'm not going to do this like I'm doing everything here. The main part of the cover I'm doing with the pink. There's little areas here and around here and that sort of thing we're going to do in a different color. Putting that shadow in behind it here. We may have to go through with some gel pen and draw in the ribbons there because they're not very well drawn in. At least make them sparkly. So we're just going to fill in a shadow behind it. Just very loosely with a little bit of a swirl. Because as you can see on this one and this one, they're not attached. They are loose. So gotta make sure that we make them look loose. Alright, and then we're going to do this part up here. And hopefully I'm still on screen. Okay. And then we're going to take our flamingo flaunt. We're going to go into that Caribbean coral there. This is one of those instances where having a dull pencil might be better, so that you can blend a little bit easier. Dull pencils tend to blend a little bit better than sharp pencils. shadowing in there because this is a bit of a rib, but it's not deep enough, like it's not high enough for it to cause a huge shadow. Just a little one. Make sure that we get down in there. And then we're going to extend this out. Like so. And we're going to do it all pink because it's pretty. I'm trying to use, as many of the pencils as I can on the balloon here because I think I'm just going to color the balloon today. And I think next Friday we'll come back with the next set and color another part of the picture and hopefully have colors in there for the next part of the picture. And maybe we'll make this the Felissimo book. I don't know. I've got the flower one as well, which has some really pretty pages in it too. But I want to start, coloring with them instead of just doing the paper craft. So if I find that the paper craft is something I'm going to enjoy doing, I will do the paper craft. If it's something that I find boring or I don't like the coloring of it, I won't do the paper craft. So some days, some Felissimo Fridays, we will color, and some we will do the paper craft. If you would rather I just color, leave me a comment in the description below the video and let me know because, I do this for you guys. As most YouTube artists do, we do it for you guys. We don't, want to sit here and talk to ourselves because we want to. We want to talk to ourselves because we're talking to all of you. If we were doing it for ourselves, then we'd be talking to ourselves. And, I can do that without the camera on. And I do. I do talk to myself a lot. Oh, sometimes you have to have an intelligent answer for something. Nine times out of 10, it's like, where did I put this? How did I lose this? Just saying. I do tend to lose things quite often. So as you can see, the pencil is getting a lot duller, and it's making it a lot easier to blend as well as move the pigment through a larger area. without getting too um, bored, I guess is the word, fatigued with the color. I tend to enjoy doing small things and small areas because I like mixing the colors and playing with the colors. And if I have to use just one color, that's why I always say this must be so boring for you all, because it's boring me to tears. So you guys must be just about ready to jump off. All right, almost all done with this color. Almost. I try not to hurry and rush, but sometimes I feel that I'm taking up more time than necessary. All right, the next one that we're going to use is Flip Flop. The Flippy Flop. I'm going right into that color and pulling it down. Like I said, I'm not too concerned of the white spot or anything like that. I'm just making sure I get a good level of color on here. This paper is a lot more toothy and does, if you want it nice and smooth, it does tend to require a little bit of blending with the blender. But I'm going to try to make sure that I get as many of the colors on the balloon from this set as I can. And then we'll work on it with the next set as well. And see how many sets we can get in one page. If the colors don't match, we'll move on to another page, and when we do find colors that match this page, we can use that, or we can finish this page with the colors that we have here. And one of these days, Bob will have my drawer unit finished off, and then I can rearrange these and sort them all into color order, and then we will do a full review of the full 500 set in my color order, in the color order that best suits me to color with. And we'll do a full 500 swatch and that sort of thing. It'll take hours, but we will think about doing it. We'll set up a Sunday or something where not too many people are streaming. Maybe a Tuesday or a Wednesday, or well, a Tuesday or Thursday, because lots of people stream on Wednesday. And there we have our balloon part done. Now let's move on to some purples here. So we're going to use Wamia Sundown first. I think. That's the darker one. Yeah. And we're going to do this ribbon area here in the purples. Just putting in the shadow. And the folds. Alright, well we are coming close to the end of time for this video. I can't say that we're coming close to the end of time ever, but for this video, we are coming close to the end of a 1 hour. I try not to make the videos more than an hour long because I don't like watching videos that are more than an hour long myself. So I can imagine that there are more than me out there that feels the same way. So I'll finish up this ribbon and then we will, oh, maybe we'll go a little over because I don't want to stop. All right, this one is Water Lily Lake. I have ideas and I don't want to stop them. This one is Water Lily Lake. Just blending it into the darker purple there. Oh, Mr. Choo Choo. And as you can tell, I'm just moving in little strokes because there's a swag, because this is a swag, and you just want to have that movement of your color the same you would as you would on a swag. And sometimes it's just best to follow the lines instead of doing it in circles. Just follow the strokes of the pen that made that created the picture. Now we are going to use, oh, I think I did that wrong, but that's okay. Now we're going to use a little bit of the Aqua Acai. Yeah, that's fine. I was a little bit worried that it was going to be too dark, but it's not. Didn't want it to take over the light. Alright. And then we are going to take our Water Lily Lake and Forever Frangipani, whatever. And we're going to go in here. And I'm just putting heavy pressure on it because I want this to be dark. And then in the center here as well. Like so, and then we're going to take that pink. And then we're going to take the purple. And we're going to get the results that we didn't. See, what I wanted was a little bit of a pink purple, but that's not what I'm getting. So instead, I'm just going to go purple for the bottom half of it, where it's going to be more in the shadow, and then we'll go pink on the top part and make it look better. Like so. And then I think we're going to do just 5 more minutes. Just 5 more minutes. So we're going to use our blues here. And then we've used practically every pencil in the set. So we've got these ones here left to use, and we're going to do it here on this band down here. So we're going to start with the blue Hawaiian. And we're just going to do the upper outline here. A little check mark there. Trying to do small line areas with a chunky pencil. Also a bit of a pain in the bum. Just saying. Alright, now I'm going to do the shadow areas back here. And then we're going to move on to afternoon ripple. And we're going to do the extension into the middle. Do the bottom part there. Make sure I'm still on screen, because concentration phase. And like so. And then the dark shadowed areas there. Where we want that darker. Alright, and then we're going to take a mint. No, didn't we just use mint mojito? No. No, we want mint mojito as our final color. On this part. blending all those colors together. Like so. Try to make sure that I have everything covered. And then we're going to take our reef dive. And we're going to do our ropes in the reef dive. Like so. Make sure I get all of the hidden areas that are behind things. And not color things that are not it. Okay. And I think that is it. I think we've used practically every color. We do have a couple of little areas up at the top there, but like I said, we will go through with a different set, the next set, and add to it if we decide that we don't want to do the craft. There was a smudge on my pencil. So as you can see, it blends really nicely, as long as you don't have schmutz on your pencil. And you can eliminate that white spot quite simply, very gently moving that color around. Now, white spot is a beneficial thing with some parts and some different textures and that sort of thing. So sometimes you may not want to eliminate your white spot, but you still want to blend your page. So in that case, you just gently, you don't put any pressure on it, you just gently move as little of the pigment as possible in areas that you want that pigment to move. If you want the white spot to stay, don't run your blender over the white spot because that you want to stay, because it will flatten it out a little bit. But for those areas that you don't want the white spot to stay, just put a little bit of pressure on your pencil and move that pigment around. Jumping them all together here. Like so. And it makes it nice and bright too. So I'm not going to do that area too much or this area too much because I've got things to add to it. There's areas there that still need color, and they're small enough that I could end up going over top of them with the blender, which will put a wax seal over top of it, and then you have a really hard time coloring on it. You can do it if you don't press too hard. But if you're burnishing, you're pretty much doing the end of the paper up. Which is what I'm doing here. I'm just burnishing it so that when I close the book, it doesn't all separate and whatnot. Alright, so I'm going to switch over to the main camera here so you can see our Felissimo hot air balloon. Felissimo in flight. There we go. So I will definitely be working on this with the next Felissimo Friday unless the craft is something simple. Even if the craft is something simple and quick, we may do the craft and then come back to this page and finish it off. I'm just going to blend the orange part here because I'm not going to be coloring over top of that. Just making it all bright. I love how bright everything gets with the Caran d'Ache blender. But that's going to be the new normal for the Felissimo Friday, is we will do the craft if it's something that's exciting and fun. If it's boring and blah, we will just color. If the craft is something that's going to take a very short amount of time, we will do the craft and color. So if it's fun and it's quick, we will do both. If it's fun and it's not quick, we will do the craft. And if it's not fun, I won't do it at all, and we will just color. So that's the new norm for the Felissimo Fridays for the rest of the year. Well, for next year, until Felissimo Friday is over. And Felissimo Friday will end once I have all of the pencils swatched and reviewed and talked about and put them in color order and did the full review. Alright guys, so there we have our hot air balloon. It's full of hot air. I've been filling it for over an hour. Alright, so this is the tropical set, numbers 261 to 280. The little poem that comes with it is "Scent of pineapple fills the balmy breeze. A sunset melts the sand and the ocean. Colors beam across the horizon. This the magic of paradise in motion." The color names are Fire Dance, Golden Hour, Pineapple Breeze, Sunscreen Smooth, Bikini Sprite, Mint Mojito, Biza Tide, Biza, Afternoon Ripple, Blue Hawaiian, Reef Dive, Wamia Sundown, Water Lily Lake, Aqua Akai, Forever Frangipani, Flip Flop, Beach Bomb, Flamingo Flaunt, Starfish Sanctuary, Heavenly Hibiscus, and Caribbean Coral. Wonderful, wonderful set of pencils, beautiful colors, and after using them on a actual coloring page, they do lay down a lot better on coloring book paper than they do on the swatch chart that gets sent with them. So if you have swatched them on your swatch charts that come with them and you've gotten discouraged by the laydown of the color, try it on an actual book because you will not be disappointed then. Alright guys, I will try to remember to put these, actually I'm not going to. I was asking people to make a little story with the names of the pencils, but nobody's been doing it. So I'm not even going to worry about it. If you do want to do so, just listen to the names of the pencils and write me a little story, put it in the description below the video. Of course, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. All right, guys, with that, I would like to say thank you all very much for watching. Here is our wonderful little picture, and we will be continuing with that next Friday. Until then, always remember to relax, color, and stay safe, everyone. I hope to see you all tomorrow at our New Year's Eve uh, coloring corner party. Until then, bye bye for now.